Welcome into another Read Out podcast. My name is Devin. We got Jared in the house, maybe Matt later. I don't know. Depends on if he gets out of his meeting.
It's a mystery.
I know it's a mystery, right? But let's start this up.
Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the Read Out Podcast.
And we'll do a quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll jump into this.
I am not ashamed to admit in the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need someone, and it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this, I am not ashamed to admit in the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need someone, and it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this episode's sponsor, BetterHelp, you do.
Maybe we will.
You can filter out who you would like to talk to, age, gender, religion, and more to pair you with the person who works best for you.
It's
And
working.
if the person
I
isn't
hear it.
exactly who you were
Okay.
wanting,
Let's
you're
see.
not. I am
Oh, you can hear the
ashamed
ad?
In the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need
Yeah, I
someone,
heard nothing.
and it's a strong person who can admit it.
It's
I
working.
talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist
Oh,
was.
just reset.
But with this episode's sponsor,
It's stuck on loop.
BetterHelp, you do. You can
Okay,
filter out
okay.
who you would
As
like
long
to
as you've
talk
got it.
to,
That's what we'll. I'll do another ad at the end just to cover my bases, just so we get this going. As I said earlier, welcome in. Hope you all are recovered from your Hawaii football watching or phone checking. That's what I did. I just randomly would wake up in the middle of the night, so I knew about what time to check scores.
Yeah,
got
so
up
I was
about-
out of town. I was over at Fall Creek Falls over in Pikeville, Tennessee. It's a really beautiful place, great state park. We were staying at the lodge. They have a really awesome, fancy lodge now, but I could not sleep at all. Like, at all. I woke up, there was a storm that rolled through at like 1 in the morning, and I checked my phone because I woke up, and I was like, oh, shoot, we're still playing football right now. And I just kept up with the rest of the game a little bit that way, but man, that was insane. That is probably it'll probably be the first and only time in the Towel Rack's history where we were constantly tweeting at 2:00 in the morning and people were actually engaging with our tweets. That will never happen again.
I know, right? It was weird for me just sitting there at like 6:00 at night, and it's like I still have 6 hours before the game.
Mm-hmm.
It was just usually 6:00 you're like, oh, an hour, oh, 2 hours, 3
Or
maybe.
sometimes like the Austin P game, be like, oh, the game's already over, and I already ate after the game and everything at 6:00.
Yeah, it's just it was, but midnight I was just like, so we go from first game to last game. So
And
hey,
it went
you
from
know what?
11 a.m. kickoff for Austin P to 11 p.m. kickoff for Hawaii, which is insane.
Yeah, that game was just wild. And we have some crazy defense stats and everything to talk about. Like even and one of my favorite things, I kind of do a little spoiler here. We got a big man touchdown, so
It's the best kind.
it's on my favorite by far. Love those.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm working on my episode title because right now I have nothing really interesting to say. Okay.
It's the bye week.
Yes. The bye week blues, I guess.
Mm-hmm. At least we
getting ready for Indiana next week, which will be exciting. We'll talk about them. My computer is just going crazy tonight.
You want me to do my winners and losers real quick?
Yes, please. Because
Right.
I just got random stuff just randomly. It just asked me if I want to restart. I'm like, no, I don't want to restart.
I don't think
What
that
are
would
you
work
doing?
very well.
No, not right now.
Yeah.
Go right ahead, bud.
Winner is, I guess, me this weekend. I'm going to a music festival in Indiana, of course, over in Indianapolis. So I'll get to finally eat all of the food that I crave from Indianapolis perpetually. I don't know if this happens to normal people, but like if you go on vacation somewhere or you go out of town to every now and then, like a place you go out of town, like where you have family or something, like you eat at a place over there and you just like crave it constantly. Like the breadsticks at Giacomo's Upper Crust Pizza, I perpetually crave. Like literally the last time I was there last year, I asked him, I was like, listen, can you just like load me up with the sauce? Because I live in Kentucky and sometimes I just crave this and I'm not driving 4 hours there to get breadsticks. But they are the greatest breadsticks I have ever had. So I will get to eat those tomorrow. I am really excited. As far as losers, I would have to also say me because I'm a Starbucks barista and pumpkin spice is back and it has been hell on earth.
So I'm gonna ask something, and if it gets you in trouble, just say no comment. Okay?
Okay.
Are you pro union or anti union?
Mmm.
Starbucks.
Spicy. Well, I mean, I am. Well, first of all, they have a legal right to unionize, and that should be
Yes.
respected. And I mean, at least with the store that I'm at, I I don't think we really need it because our management is good, but there are other areas that I definitely think could benefit from it. I just think it's more of like a store by store thing as far as like an all or nothing type thing because there's some situations where I think it wouldn't make sense to have a union like where my store is in Springfield, but the other ones like in inner city areas that do have a strong union base, like inner city Nashville. So this is something I don't know if many of y'all know, but like if you were to have any type of job with like Bridgestone or work in any type of major production within like the music industry, whether you do audio or lights or you're a stage person or a grip or something like that, all of those are union jobs because my uncle, he used to actually do all of that for a living. He would help do the CMAs. He would help do all of these major award shows in Bridgestone. And the only way you get those high level jobs is if you're in a union. And that's I think with like especially like inner city areas where there are a lot of people that are in a union already, like they would support someone else that is that's in a union as well. But I don't know. I mean, it's very interesting. I definitely keep up with all of it, and we just got a new CEO as well, so I'm interested to see what that will look like.
Well, and like I said, I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't want to get you in trouble or anything. But
You won't. I have
there,
too much tenure at this point.
my thing is with with unions specifically, there are some unions that are useful and needed, and then there's some that aren't worth the paper and the dues that you have to pay.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. Of course, I keep seeing this pop up on the news, and I always forget to ask you about it because I'm like, I know Jared
Hmm.
basically owns one now, so I just need to ask him and see what he says.
Yeah, I mean, it's been
Um,
very interesting to see how it went from just one store in Buffalo, and now there's like hundreds of stores that have voted to unionize across the country. So,
and like you said, it's kind of like any job. You have good people in positions of quote power, and then you have people who aren't worth it. They're
mhm,
bad apples. They're
absolutely.
manipulating. Your employees. And it's like that's not what your job is. Your job is to get them paid. You make money as a store. You go on. That's what and
Exactly, yeah.
that's the
And
hardest
just
thing
treat
for.
people with respect. It's literally the easiest thing you should be able to do.
Well, on that note, I know a lady who works at McDonald's. Okay, this is in the
Mhm.
U.S. I can't speak for anywhere else outside of my area. They have a program at McDonald's. If you work 3 days in a row, seems pretty simple. You
Mhm.
get there to work on time. You are not late for clock ins or from break or whatever. You get a extra dollar or two raise. Okay, seems pretty simple,
Mhm.
right? That's what I would think.
Yeah.
They've only got one person in their entire McDonald's restaurant there at that location that has been able to do it.
Um,
One
yeah, I
person gets an
mean,
extra
jeez.
dollar an hour. And I don't that's not counting like managers or anything. That's just employees. And I'm like, "Really? Like come on people. I mean, I know
I'd be
you work at
making
McDonald's,
close to
but
like $17 an hour if I did that with Starbucks.
I know, right? It's of course I work at a family business and there's some days I'm just like, I don't even care if I get there on time. But there's other days obviously where I'm like, yeah, I got to be there. I got to be there on time. But
What are they gonna do if
some
you're
days
late? Just kill you and bury you somewhere and never tell anyone?
I know, right? Like they're just gonna hide the body. What else is gonna happen?
Yeah. Just say you
Yeah,
got abducted by aliens. That's what they would tell your family.
he said he was gonna work for the circus. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know. And do people still do that? They run away to the circus? Probably not. It's just an
No,
old
this
person
isn't
thing.
the early 1900s anymore, Devin.
So um I will say I did think of you the other day, Jared. There
boy.
is a Starbucks coming to Radcliffe, Kentucky.
Are you serious? Like
Yes,
a
there is.
standalone location or like in a
Yes.
Kroger or something?
Nope, standalone location.
That's
I was like,
insane. I never
what?
would think. How many people live in Radcliffe? I don't even know if I've been there. I've been to E-Town,
Um,
obviously, but
yeah, I'll have to look. I'll have to Google that. Because it's not very many, but because of the proximity to Fort Knox, I'm sure that's probably what it is.
yeah. And also, like Springfield, Tennessee, they have one, and there's only 20,000 people in Springfield.
As of 2020, there are 22,796 people that live in Radcliffe.
Yeah, I guess that's the magic number. If you live in a community with about 20,000 people, you might get a Starbucks. If it's less than that, don't count on it. So Franklin, Kentucky, it's not happening. I've already asked. It's not.
Dude, that would be so dope for you, though. You wouldn't even have that far of a drive.
Honestly, I'd still work in Springfield because I'd avoid working with Franklin people, but you didn't hear me say that.
Don't blame you. That's coming from somebody who lived near Franklin. Not near, I should say. I should say
Well, I
I
mean,
lived
Scottsville,
a
Allen
county.
County.
I lived a county over, but Scottsville's not the paradise that it was when I was there. So
It was
I'll
a
go with that.
paradise anytime.
It was better. It was better. Now Scottsville is awful.
Hot take.
Yeah. Well, it's just got its issues like any small town in America.
At least we can both agree. At least it's not Russellville, right?
Amen. And it's not Tompkinsville. That's another
Yeah.
one. A lot of small town Kentucky hate going on tonight.
Always. The Wobbles region. I love that they call it that.
They call it the Wobbles.
Well, the Wabbles region. I don't know if that's how you would say it. It's like it's all of the surrounding counties. It's like the first letter of each of them. So like Warren, Allen, Butler, Barron, Logan,
Oh my gosh.
Edmondson, and
Gosh, I'm old. I
Simpson.
didn't even make that connection.
Wow.
I was like, Wobbles.
Keep up with your meteorology, Devin. Your local meteorology.
Oh, dude, I was watching this. I was watching meteorology around there when Chris Allen was still a meteorologist. That's a local.
Man.
That's been a while.
What a guy! I saw him all the time
right?
when I worked in Scottsville Road by Starbucks. He would come through.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That was my weatherman when I was a college age, I guess.
Young
I
adults.
think he was still there. Yeah. Anyway, winners and losers. I've been listening to Two Bears One Cave podcast. If you don't listen to them, they're hilarious. You should check them out. And I would say Andrew Tate. Do you know who Andrew Tate is?
I've heard the name, but I can't remember why we're talking about
it. He's a person who's basically getting canceled because of some kind of trafficking charge. I have no idea. I just heard him on their podcast. I have nothing to back that up. Just speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him. Just that he's kind of so apparently, like, his Twitter's been taken down, his Instagram's been taken down, his YouTube's been taken down. Like,
jeez,
all of his socials have been like deleted because of this trafficking charge. And the only thing that happened was that him and someone named Tristan were brought in for questioning. There was no one arrested or anything. Yeah. And this is all based off of a boyfriend of a woman who attended a party at his home.
Interesting.
That's all that was based off of. So I guess because of circumstance, I guess he'll be a loser for us this week.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you get canceled, I mean, I'm sure that's not fun.
All right. What are yours, bud? Besides you,
I already said mine. What?
I do have to keep up with my we're going to do a new little segment at the end tonight if we have time called Would You Rather? And I have to try and remember mine because it's pretty juicy.
Mine is too.
And honestly, I got it from I've seen some guys on TikTok, I guess a different show, podcast, or whatever. And the TikTok I saw was basically, would you have adult fun consensually if you had to fight a full-size sperm?
That would be kind of terrifying.
As an adult man. Yeah, we're going from regular to explicit, so just get ready.
Man, I'm
Mine is
scared.
nowhere near like that, but mine's more sports related. But I thought that was
Mine
funny.
is too.
All right. So, do you want to talk about the Hall of Famers real quick?
Oh yeah, so we have new WKU Hall of Fame inductees, which is really good. Some more recent guys too. I guess probably the biggest names on there, I would say, are Bobby Rainey, of course. I mean, running back for Western, ended up being in the pros, won a Super Bowl when he was on the Giants, played for the Ravens for a bit too. So it's awesome to see him on that list. Of course, I would say the biggest name on it is Claire Donahue. Olympic gold medalist is kind of a awesome flex to have on your resume, and she can say that. When we had the giant freshman assembly when I was at WKU, she was one of the guest speakers for that, and did a really awesome job with Gary Ransdale doing all of that. Of course, it sucks we still don't have the swimming and diving team. Of course, we all know what happened with that, but
Yeah.
she's still one of the, I mean, at least if you look at like the highest level you can get of your accomplishments in your sport, you can't beat an Olympic gold medal for your country. So I mean, that's super awesome that she can say that. There's a few others. I can't remember, I don't have the list in front of me, but
I do.
I know Dean.
You got
How do you
you did
go
you
ahead?
said you got Claire Donahue. There's Chuck
Mhm.
Enix, Bobby Rainey, Dean Tybout. I'm sorry if I
Yeah,
butchered your name, Tide.
he's one of the
Dean and
admins for the WKU football group too, which is cool.
yeah, Dean's a really cool guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. And then we got Harry Todd, who's for basketball. Dean played football for Western back in the day. Did okay, and I don't want to sound insensitive or anything, but did Claire even swim in the Olympics,
I
or was
mean, I
she
think
just an
so.
alternate?
No, I mean,
I
she
thought she
did.
was
I
an
think.
alternate, but,
I can't
and
remember,
that's
but
great
I
if she
mean,
did it. I have no idea.
she's got the medal
Um,
to prove it. That's all that matters.
yes, yeah, she's got, and then of course with that you also get the bonus. They actually
Mhm.
get paid for the gold medal. Um, looks like Bobby was on the Ravens for the Super Bowl team.
Okay, I guess I had it
So
backwards. And I know he was on the Giants and he was on the Ravens, and they both won
yes,
Super Bowls. So
he
I
was
don't
on the
know.
Ravens. Ravens in 12, Browns in 13, Tampa 13 through 15, the Giants in 16, and the Ravens in 17. And I assume he was released after that. Which I mean, like I've said before, that's a good. It's not necessarily about being in the NFL for 20 years like Brady. You've got to. Sometimes you just, you have 5 or 6 good years in the league, and you basically pad your wallet and do your best and go for it.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of seasons. If you're smart with your money, that could last you the rest of your life outside of the NFL if you don't play anymore. And just the fact that you were in the NFL, that opens up positions for you to do other things like easily be a high school football coach and then maybe work your way up into college at a lower level and just kind of work your way up too. So it opens the doors, a lot of different doors that you can have outside of sports, even. I mean, even just hosting a podcast or just
Yeah,
something like that. I mean, even like it's spending on, if you go back to your hometown or something, you could be like a local sports guy for that and write for the newspaper or something. Who knows?
yeah. I mean, there are. Well, I mean, typically, and I'm not trying to be judgy or anything, but a lot of guys, if they go pro, they'll make it at some college if they really try. If they really wanted to push
Hmm.
it, they can coach at some university. So,
Hmm.
that's hey, that's a possibility for Bobby. I don't know. I'm happy for him to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Um, I don't know Chuck. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to look him up. He was in track and field, and it looks like it was
Okay.
several years ago. I'm sorry. Um, and then Harry Todd. But yeah, I was there when Bobby was at Western. Bobby was always a great. He had this little move with his. Whenever he was running, he'd be running open field at a defender, and he would do like. It's gonna sound retarded. It's gonna sound really stupid, but he would do almost like the stanky leg, and he would just pull his leg and drag it, and then he would juke back to that side. And that move worked. And when you watch it on film, you're like, I can't believe that move works, but it would work it would work in college like no other, which cracked me up.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to hit the stanky leg.
And that's what it reminded me of, and it was just like, really, like, this is hilarious. But I remember watching. There was a local kid played at Bowling Green High, and he played running back. Of course, he was built differently than Bobby. Around the same height. This kid was a lot skinnier. I'm not going to say his name, but the difference between the two is Bobby never had a block on his film. Like, it looked like Bobby started with no offensive line in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy from Bowling Green, it looked like he just had like a shield around him. Like, there's nothing going to touch him, which always cracked me up. But yeah, I mean, it was just show. I'm just saying to illustrate, the different caliber of like what Bobby came from as far as his ability. And I mean, as far as a player, he's doing great. And as far as I know, he's married, got a kid. I mean, awesome. And if we get Matt on here, we can have Matt do some Bobby Rainey impressions.
If only.
He's got a few. I'm just saying. Do we have any ProTops news?
The good news is the season starts tomorrow. Bills versus Rams. So we'll get to see Tyler Higbee in action. Hopefully, I still hate it so much that he was hurt and wasn't able to play in the Super Bowl. But I mean, he still has the ring, so ultimately that's all that matters. But I mean, I was really wanting to see a Higbee touchdown in the Super Bowl, like we all were. So defending champs will start off the season against one of the best teams in the AFC. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that matchup will look like. Of course, my Dolphins start the Patriots Sunday. That's always like either the first. Usually, it's like the first game of the season and the last game of the season. So I don't know how the Dolphins will do, but I have my expectations as low as possible. Let's just put it that way.
It won't be. It probably won't be as bad as you think. I'm sure.
But I mean, as far as like our ProTops goes, I mean, I was really hoping Stearns can land on a roster somewhere. I think Iggy, I still haven't really seen if he's got picked up on a practice squad or anything. Of course, the big ones, Forrest Lamp, he's on injured reserve for the Saints, so he probably won't get to play this season. We still have, of course, Bailey Zappi, who should be the second string quarterback, but is probably listed as a third because of Hoyer. We'll be able to monitor and see how he does this season. We're not going to have Jack Doyle this season, though. That's going to be weird to think about. One. Yeah, so I know Indy, they're going to have to move on. I'll be driving by Lucas Oil Stadium probably tomorrow. But, yeah, I mean, we do still have a bunch of ProTops that are going to be playing somewhere. I know a lot of fringe players weren't really able to, like Devin Key. I think Dion Yelder, he got cut from wherever he was at. He's kind of gone around a few different teams since he was on the Chiefs and got to play a little bit.
Dion Yelder was on the Cardinals, right?
Well,
that's what I got in my notes.
A lot. He hasn't really had much. Yeah, maybe. But it's just so hard to try to land on a 53-man roster at this point.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, too, is you've got 32 teams, 53-man roster. Can't do the math that quick in my head. Sorry, high school math teacher.
9 plus 11 is 21.
1,696 NFL players, essentially, that are going to be on rosters. You got less than 2,000 out of, an astronomical number of college, high school players who are dreaming to get to the NFL. So what I'm saying is for them to make it and be able to go to camp and be, that close to playing, I mean, that's awesome. I'm happy for them. So Mike White's on the Jets. Is he starting?
Which I'm still no. Flacco's starting.
Oh,
but here's the question though: is Flacco elite? Yes or no?
At this point, I think he used to be, but I don't think he is anymore. Yeah,
when he was at his peak with the Ravens and won that Super Bowl with them. Obviously, he was at a very high level, but now, I mean, he's towards the end of his career. He's just more of a mentor for Wilson and Mike, I guess, at this point. So, It's kind of a bummer.
Well,
that
and I
Mike
think that's a
won't really
good
get to
thing.
play.
I think it's a good thing for Mike
Yeah.
to have a mentor like that, though.
Yeah, to have someone
So
that was a starter for a team that won a Super Bowl, that's pretty big to kind of help you out.
I gotta see if hoping this. Yeah, it updated. Okay,
I
I was gonna
mean,
say I
I would
saw a
rather
video.
have. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I guess I'd rather have Joe Flacco be my mentor than be like Bailey Zappi and have like Brian Hoyer. I mean, Hoyer's not horrible. It's just he's kind of been all over the NFL at this point and everything. But I mean, he's had longevity, but he hasn't really had those big moments, I guess, other than being the
Okay,
Browns
I got one
quarterback.
for you.
Okay.
I got one for you. Okay, this is a would you rather. Would you rather have, would you rather have Joe Flacco or Ryan Fitzpatrick as your quote mentor?
Oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick, easily.
He's a genius, freaking
He's a
genius.
literal
Yeah, I agree.
genius because he went to Harvard. But also, I mean, he was on several different teams and still had highlights with just about every single one of those teams. Like when he was in Miami, he won a lot of games for Miami. Just the whole game against the Raiders, that last few plays where he had like that massive face mask penalty where they basically yanked his head 180 degrees behind his, like turned his head around, and he just launches the football and threw a touchdown pass. So, I mean, the dude is iconic, and the beard is iconic too. So, I mean, you have to go with Fitzpatrick.
At this point, it is. Yes, definitely agree. Okay, so I'm just going down my list here. We got Zapp, who's in New England still.
Zappy.
Zappy, excuse me. Zappy's in New England. Iggy's a free agent. Lamp, is he still with the Saints, or did he get cut?
Yeah, but I think he's on injured reserve.
Okay. Higbee's in Los Angeles. Is he on injured, or is he still good?
Higbee should be good to go for week 1.
Okay.
I haven't
Devin
seen anything that
Key.
says otherwise.
Key is in Kansas City.
Well,
Or
I
did he
think
get
he
cut?
got cut, yeah.
I
And
gotta
because
check.
I was really bitter because Alex talked about it last week. Like he had a game-winning
Yeah.
play in the Chiefs' last preseason game, but he didn't end up getting on the roster or the practice squad, I don't think.
Which is crap, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. So, Devin Key did get cut from the Chiefs, and I apologize. Last week I misspelled his name. I spelled it like I spelled my name. Injured reserve, Lamp for the Saints, yes, and then Jordan Meredith was cut from the Raiders. So,
But I think he
I'd
did
give
end
it
up
Alex.
signing with the practice squad for the Raiders, I think.
Sweet.
I do remember seeing
Sweet,
that,
sweet,
so
sweet.
he got picked up. And you got to count John Haggerty for the CFL. It's like the Blue Jackets or Blue Somethings. I can't remember. I don't really watch it as much as Alex does, but he's been killing it over there. And do you want to know something crazy, Devin?
Yes.
So
tell me
as a
something.
normal, I have to share this because I saw this. It was the Sunday night. It was like 60 Minutes or whatever. They did this whole special on kickers, like NFL kickers. I don't know if it's
Okay.
like this in college. So I'll ask you. I never knew kickers use a different ball than the rest of the team. Like every
Yes.
single time there's like a field goal or something, it is not the same ball that like a quarterback would use every snap. I never
Yes.
knew that. K-balls. I had never heard of that before.
Yes. And Matt would know more about this than I do, but there are the kickers want you to scuff the balls up too.
Yeah, like make it as slick as possible. That explains so
Yeah.
much. That's why no one goes for trick plays where you try to throw and everything, because that thing's going to be slick, sliding out of your hands as soon as you try to do anything with it. So that makes so much sense. That was like a epiphany moment for me. I had never known that kickers use like their own balls for everything.
I do, in fact, remember when I was at Western, they would put some of the kicker balls in the dryer to scuff it up. How about that?
I guess I could work.
How about
with
that fact for you sports fans? Yeah, that's it's pretty crazy. Some of the stuff that they do, and I actually don't tell Matt in case he comes on, but I actually swiped a football from the managers because when I was leaving the stadium one day, the managers had left a ball in the stands and didn't realize it. So I was like, Psh, I got a Western ball, sucker. So
there you go. I
mine
don't think
now.
they missed it.
No, they probably have no idea it was even going. I had it on my shelf forever. I got to find that thing.
It's a good keepsake.
Oh, yeah. And I actually got a football from another team at one point, but I can't think of who that one was either. But
I feel
yeah,
like every
yeah,
manager
the
should get a football.
Yeah, I mean, right?
Just like when you graduate and everything, you should get like a helmet and a football. Both game used.
Yes, you should. You definitely should. I completely agree with that. But we'll step into Hawaii. Midnight kickoff for us over here on the East Coast. 11 p.m. for the rest of you. Western did phenomenal, and from what I've heard, the stadium was garbage. Which I kind of
Yeah, it
thought
was
that.
bad.
I kind of thought that when I saw that there was a 9,000 seat stadium, and I'm like, 9,000 seat? Like, I figured like
Yeah.
being the major school in Hawaii or on one of the islands, I would assume that it would have a bigger stadium. Of course, I was
Well,
told by
the
Old
normal
that it,
Little House
yeah,
Stadium, yeah. I mean, they're doing renovations and building a new stadium. I can't remember which, but yeah, that's not their like
yes,
forever stadium.
no, yeah, and that's what, um, you know, that's what Ross, one of the other members of the podcast, was saying that they actually had not had a chance to get back into the stadium after the renovation. So, but Western did
I
awesome.
remember when I I remember when the Pro Bowl was in Hawaii, Pepper Ridge Farms. Remember back when it was
Oh my
good.
god. I honestly, okay. I heard somebody say this, and at first I thought you're nuts. That's ridiculous. But I heard somebody say that the Pro Bowl should be more like the NBA's All Stars,
No, it
where
shouldn't.
you
There's no
have.
defense.
Well, no, not the defense, not any of that. I'm just saying, like you have the slam dunk contest. You got the 3-point shooting thing. Like you could make up stuff like that to have on there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like a
Hmm.
slam dunk contest, but you could have
Oh,
like
like making an
have
All-Star
kicker.
weekend type thing. Okay, I see
Yes,
where you're going.
exactly. I think that would put it over the top. I think it would be amazing. And by the way, Roger Goodell, if you do it, you owe me money because I came up with it. Just saying.
There you go.
But yeah, no, it never happened. Um, but and I've been trying to find the game to
It's on
actually
there.
sit down and watch it. Is it on that And One app?
Well, I shared a link that I saw from somebody else that had already posted the
Okay.
whole game. It wasn't from Hilltop Revolt yet either. I don't know if they'll get it up, but I can dig and find that link for you and send it to you.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there
Yeah.
is a
I'll
video.
put
It's
it
on
on the.
YouTube.
I will put that note in the. I'll put that link on the episode notes if you all want to try and find that. Let me see. I might be able to find it. But yeah, definitely. I'll try and post that link for you all. Then we can. Uh, well, actually, I'll tell a quick story while I'm looking for this. But Western, since 2007 or 8, has been talking about going to Hawaii, and I have been putting this. I was always like putting it off, and finally they go to Hawaii, and it's what 2022. So I would have been like
Hmm.
the longest running student at Western. I'm just saying. I've been holding out
Yeah.
for this long. I
Hmm.
did find the link. Western Kentucky versus Hawaii, 22 NCAAFF or whatever, 22 college football week 1 broadcast, 3.5 hours or so, which seems about right. So
Hmm.
I will post that link in the show notes so you all can follow that link and watch the game if you want to. So
I
if
feel
you've
like
made it 32 minutes, you find it.
every person that watched it live, I feel like they should be like paid some type of financial compensation for that.
Yeah, they should.
I could not.
Oh my gosh, I didn't make it at all.
I'm an old man deep down.
Yep, I'm rubbing off on you, buddy.
Yep.
Too much of an influence.
Oh well. It was fun while it lasted.
Hey, I just get used to yelling at kids to get off your lawn and stuff like that. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I already do that as a camp counselor anyways.
Don't walk on the grass.
Like you have to tell them to walk first and be like, stop running first off. Second off, stay on the path. Stop running in the grass.
What do you think? Grass just grows? What's wrong with you? You got to water it.
I spent 20 minutes striping the field and you're already getting footprints all over it.
Western did amazing. I was really happy with their performance. I honestly did not know what to expect. Because and I know everybody's like, oh, Western was projected. I don't care. Okay. Being a longtime Western fan, we've had ups and downs. Okay. We've had games where we were like, we're going to come in and we're going to clean these guys' clock, and then we get beat. So I was just trying to be the voice of reason and say, hey, let's chill. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Here's a question for you real quick.
Sure.
So we're 2-0. This is the first time we have been 2-0 since what season?
2015.
Yep. You're right. But what do you remember from the team in 2015? What did they go on to do?
Well, I'm not saying it. I'm not going to say it. Sorry. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to jinx us. I don't want to say it. I don't want the Red Elk curse.
I mean, we played Louisiana Tech one of those games, and that was a really tough game. But,
yeah.
I mean, now we have a bye week and then Indiana, which is winnable.
Yes. We'll talk about that next week in a lot more detail.
I'm going to go to Indiana and be the boots on the ground and just ask random people and be like, do you think the Hoosiers can beat Western Kentucky? And they're just going to be like, what?
No. What you need to do is just ask random people, do you know what the towel rack is?
Honestly, I should.
That would be really funny, actually, to see. If
I'm going to go to the NCAA headquarters like I normally do and just go in there and find Mark Emmert and be like, hey, have you ever heard of the towel rack?
Okay, so projected thus far, Western has got -3 on Indiana. Which, by the way,
that's close.
We're at Indiana, and that's normally you get 2 points for being at the stadium.
So that's almost like a coin flip, basically.
Yeah, that's if they were playing at a neutral site, it would be a 5-point difference. But Western's got 3 points on them, according to this, and ESPN's Football Power Index is got it 51-48. So that's exciting, and we got a bye week to prepare for this game.
Hallelujah!
So go wreck them, guys. Go wreck them. Okay, so we're talking Western and Hawaii. Let me get back into those notes. Western did awesome. We had 5 interceptions against them?
Yeah, I mean, defense really, really, really showed up in this game.
Yeah, we had a big man, Juwan Jones, run one back, 38 yards. I mean, and he's not a big guy. Don't get me wrong. He's probably a big guy compared to me.
He's still a D lineman.
Yes, he's a D lineman running one back. He did what he's supposed to do. Hawaii tried to run a screen. He set back. As my high school football coach would say, smell a rat. He did it, catches the ball, and takes off to the house and gets his first touchdown. Loved it. Freaking loved it. Of course, then we had Dalvin Smith, who scored. He actually scored the first points, or he got the first touchdown for Western. Hawaii kicked a field goal to start off. And honestly, like up until halftime, it looked like Western is gonna keep it fairly close. It was within 11. Joshua Simon got a 47-yard pass from Austin Reed to score 21-10. We go into the third. We got 1 touchdown from Jalen Hall. And then we got Mr. Robichaux running it in from 7. And Austin Reed. And then Poindexter gets the last touchdown, 49-17, to finish off that game. You know what's crazy to me is thinking about what time those guys got back from Hawaii.
Man.
You know that was like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can sleep the whole way. Well, I mean, you can try, but it's hard.
I'm sure you could, and I'm sure the guys were exhausted, so it wasn't too bad to go to sleep. But at the same point, like, you're exhausted coming back from that. That's just crazy. So what were your thoughts on the game?
So obviously I didn't really get to watch it. I was out of town and trying to sleep like a normal person would at that hour. But I mean, just looking at the stats though, I mean, I thought Reed, he's staying pretty consistent. It was enough of a good enough performance for him to earn him he's on the Davey O'Brien watch list now for this week. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, that we're still having quarterbacks be considered that good, that they're being watched as one of the best in their position. And even after Zappy's gone, it's like a lot of us, I mean, I still don't see him putting up Zappy style numbers, but I still see him being very, very stable quarterback, very consistent. I think I really like his consistency. I mean, he hasn't really thrown many interceptions at all, and just winning is something that he's used to. I mean, he never really lost much at West Florida and everything. I mean, he's a proven winner. His guys have rallied around him, and you can kind of sense that.
Yeah.
And I mean, just defensive wise, just seeing what all they were able to do was really, really encouraging after the Austin P game, because they definitely didn't look too sharp, especially with all those zone read things. I mean, DeLillo was running all over the place and they couldn't really stop him very well. But that's something that I think they've worked on and looks a lot better. And I hope that they can keep that going into the Indiana game, because that's definitely going to be the hardest challenge for them so far this season. Anytime you play a Big Ten school, I mean, even if they're a cellar dweller, it's hard. I mean, even when we played Vanderbilt, we would still squeak out a win against them, even though they would probably win 2 or 3 games the rest of the season just because they're Vanderbilt. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there is that disparity, but obviously we're a higher-ish mid-major team. That, I mean, we're better than just like your average team in our conference. I mean, I would say that we're above that, just because, I mean, we have this high-profile offense that can get a lot of yards, get a lot of points, isn't very conservative, and just kind of likes to throw it out there. But the defense is what will make or break us for next week. But seeing the way they did against Hawaii was really encouraging, and I hope that they're able to keep that momentum and just build the confidence off of that. That's the biggest thing they could have is confidence going into this game. So I really hope that they have a ton after that.
I mean, this is definitely a build up for them. As far as like what I'm trying to say is this is a definite momentum build up for the guys. With going into playing Hawaii. Now, Hawaii's probably not the same caliber team Indiana is.
No.
Obviously, they're having a really rough time. But it's going to build up. It's going to build up momentum. Indiana is a bottom feeder for the, what is it, Big Ten or wherever they are, the Northern Conference
Yeah.
there.
But that's the thing, though. I
And
mean, last year when we were so good, we still ended up losing to them, even in Bowling Green. I was at that game, and it was so frustrating because we had so many opportunities where we should have walked out of there with the win, but we just kind of, it was like the football had been covered in bacon grease or something, and we just fumbled it away.
I would argue, Bud, that if Western played them later in the year, it'd have been a different story.
Yeah, we easily would have won. It was just because it was so early in the season.
Yeah,
But now we're
and that
still
goes for
playing
the
them
Army
early in
game
the
too.
season.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say that for Army too. We didn't beat Army later in the year. We almost beat Army last year. So that would be my argument, is that we were so close. Like, we were right there on the precipice of beating those teams. And if those games had been later in the year, we probably could have.
Yeah, we didn't really get beat. We just kind of lost and squandered it.
I think so. Honestly, I think Western lost an opportunity to beat them. But Western did amazing. I'm really pleased with our rush, and I'm tickled with our rushing defense. We only allowed 94 rushing yards. That's not even a 100-yard, game for Hawaii. Now, granted, I don't know what they did against Vanderbilt, but I know Vanderbilt, ran basically wherever they wanted to, and Western got 141 rushing yards. So I'd like to see us build off of that.
Yeah. I think we could really benefit from having a solid run game, honestly.
Yes.
Because that's the thing that every opposing team is going to think of when they think of Western Kentucky, and be like, oh, this is a team that likes to pass the ball. Let's just sit a bunch of guys back and have some corners further, like do more quarters defense instead of just kind of man-to-man, have more zone stuff. But if we are able to establish a run threat and get some consistency off of that, that kind of opens up the pass a little bit more, because they have to take the run more seriously.
Exactly. That's where I was going to go with that next.
Play action.
Yes. Your play action, your read options, those have to be treated more like threats instead of, bluffs. So, and like you said, it opens up the passing game. It opens up Reed to be able to run if he wants to, which I'm sure the coaches don't want him to. These guys are able to move and do stuff, and it just makes it a lot easier for the quarterback and for the running back too. Because if they're all dropped back, then Robichaux or whoever can just take off and just go. If your linebackers, your secondary is 10 or 15 yards off the ball, that's a first down right there.
Yeah,
he can get 7 or 8 yards easy. I think that's possible. But yeah, I was pretty tickled. I'm hoping to get to watch the game. Like I said, I got it in my notes here. So hopefully before next week, I'll sit down and watch that game. Since I got a bye, I guess I get to catch up on my football.
Yeah, just watch it Saturday.
Yep, that's what I'll do. I'll just pretend that I'm a week ahead or I'm a week behind.
Yeah, you have to watch it at 11 o'clock at night local time though.
Yeah, I'm sure. It will probably be like that anyway because like when my wife and I are watching TV, we watch whatever show we've got, and then like she goes to bed and I watch what I want to watch. So
no, you'll start watching it and get like 10 minutes into the first quarter, and then you'll wake up and it's almost the fourth quarter and be like, "Whoa."
I have it. I think it's part of being a dad when you sit in a chair. Oh, uh-oh.
Hey!
Oh,
it's Matt McCay.
What's up,
boys?
Hey.
What I missed?
What'd you miss? You missed like everything.
Devin, I told you them Northerners was going to take a while. I tried to warn you.
So we talked about Bobby Rainey being inducted to the Hall of Fame. So what do you think about that? I told Jared you had a great.
Hey man, it's such an honor to be recognized by WKU. I just really appreciate it. Some tacos.
Why does he sound like Eddie Murphy?
I don't know.
That's what he sounds like, man. Eddie, dude, seriously, I did that one time. Do you remember Nehemiah?
Yes. Yes.
So anyway, graphic to our listeners here, fair warning. Me and him were in the bathroom taking a dump, and I gave warning. All right. Oh, but anyway, so we're in the bathroom, and I was like, you know what, whatever. And I did the Bobby laugh. I'm like, and Nehemiah goes, Bobby? So I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
It must have been pretty accurate because he thought it was Bobby Rainey laughing while Bobby was taking a poop. So I'm just saying.
That's hilarious. So and we were talking about Hawaii. Now I know you live tweeted the Hawaii game, so I want to get your thoughts on it.
Like an absolute champion. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Hey man, I was checking, nobody answered. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it, and if I get told to shut up, I'll quit gladly. But
we were like the only
fun,
side
man.
that had him going.
Yeah, and I saw that, and I'm like, well, look, I'm gonna be up anyway, and this will keep me awake. I did, confession, probably fell asleep the last like 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and then I woke up to Randy Lee on the radio screaming about that the goal line stop or whatever. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, goal line stop, go Tops. But anyway, that was the only part I missed. But yeah, I was really proud of them. I mean, I did. By the way, to toot my own horn, I did predict that we would blow them out, but whatever. Nobody else believed it.
That is true. You did have the closest final score prediction.
Yeah, so toot on that horn. But yeah, I was really proud of them. And here's the thing: is I thought that if we could fix a few little issues, we were going to be okay. It was impressive. I mean, we had 5 sacks the first week, and that's a nice sign to see. Even though it was Austin P, whatever, you get 5 sacks, like that's tough to do no matter who you're playing. Like for example, I think Alabama had like 0 sacks against Utah State, for example. So it's a statement to get 5 sacks against whoever the heck it is. And there were some other signs, like for example, not for the most part being able to compete with bigger receivers. Like Austin P had some decent sized players at every position, which I was surprised with. So anyway, coming into the game, I thought, I thought that we would be, if we were healthy, which it turns out secondary wasn't super healthy, and Broderick Martin was questionable too, the defensive tackle. But still, to pull out a performance like that, I was pretty impressed with the overall result, and just the way that we were able to push them around. And it was really nice to see. It was nice to see Juwan Jones get that pick 6.
Love that.
And it was
I always love the
to
big guy
watch.
touchdowns. They're my favorite.
Oh yeah, Wasn't there? Didn't Jamichael Payne or somebody like
Yes.
that got one, and that was funny because he hardly played, and then he got it was almost a pick six, but he was like this, like he was maybe 6 feet tall, but definitely 350 pounds, and it was pretty
yeah, if I
funny.
remember right, he was if I remember right, he was at
6'1",
least 320.
350.
Yeah, he was about 320, I think.
He was bigger. He was a big dude. But anyway, yeah, he had one. But yeah, it's always funny watching the big guys get a pick six. And I remember Jamarcus Allen had one that was pretty funny.
We had one. Sorry, I'm not
Lafayette.
trying to step on you there. We had one, and I think it was before you got to Western, Matt. It was the first year we played North Texas.
Was that when we almost killed somebody with a sledge?
No, that was that wasn't a sledge issue.
That
was almost a fight. That was almost a fight because we were up 28 to something at half, and they called the guy Carl Winslow because he looked just like Carl Winslow. I cannot remember if that was 2007 or 2008. But yeah, oh my gosh, dude, I cannot think of his name. Gosh, what is his name?
I don't know, Devin. You keep asking.
I'll think of it here in a minute. I'm looking through the old roster right now. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay.
But he was hilarious. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Terrell Clark. There he is. Terrell Clark. Yeah, he caught one. And Terrell reminds me of Jamichael, except he had middle-aged baldness for a guy who was a junior in college. But yeah, his interception return for a touchdown was in 2007, and we got an unsportsmanlike penalty right after that because it was hilarious. But yeah, those are the big man touchdowns are my favorite.
Yeah,
I will say, Matt, I don't want to interrupt your recap there, but Western actually held Hawaii to less rushing yards than Vandy did.
Yeah,
Vandy allowed 100. Vandy allowed 108. We allowed 94. So it's 14 yards, but it's kind of an interesting stat, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. I mean,
something else that it's hurting. Something else that's really hurting Hawaii. Something else that's really hurting Hawaii is their penalties. They had 12 penalties. 109 yards.
Devin,
of course, we had 7 for 72, but 100 yards. Yes.
Jared, did you?
What's up?
Did you get to see it too, or no?
No,
or did you
I
see
was
some of it?
I was over in Eastern Tennessee.
They don't have TVs there.
Yeah, they don't have electricity over there.
Wi-Fi, nothing. Cell service, none of that.
One TV for every 10,000 people.
So just to explain, since y'all didn't really get to see it, the officials were like, especially the beginning of the game, they were just like throwing flags for everything. Like the first quarter took, I would say, a full hour just because of all the bull crap, just throwing flags and reviewing and not sure what happens here, and it was ridiculous. And so, yeah, maybe
I'm just
maybe
picturing
Hawaii,
the ref. I'm just picturing the ref throws a flag and bull crap. Like, that was the call. You just called bull crap. Yes, 5 yards.
bull crap on the offense. Yeah, I mean, seriously, though,
I mean, you know the
like,
pickings are slim for officials.
It was just really. It's just, yeah, right. They've got to fly them out every game. Yeah, right. Home cooking.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Yes,
but
Matt, finish your thought.
Anyway. All right, man. Anyway, that explains the penalties. So, what are you laughing at, Devin? I'm trying. Man, this is my spotlight. I came on. This is my time.
I'm just laughing because you said, anyway, like 6 times. But
it's Tourette's. It's
definitely.
A tick, okay? Yeah,
well,
but anyway.
it's because we keep interrupting you. So
you're just laughing like 2 seconds into what I'm saying. So rushing yard, I thought it was nice. I thought the rushing game did a good job. It's nice to have a rushing game that can actually finish a game, because last year it was a huge problem until maybe game 6, 7, 8, where we started finding Noah Whittington and Kai and whatever. And so it just really, it's nice to see early in the season he can put the ball on the ground or run the ball on the ground. No, not put the ball on the ground. It's a fumble. But
we had one
be
of
able
those
to
this
run the
week.
ball and finish the game. And so that was a really nice sign, because last year we had to pass to be able to move the ball at all, or you just run the ball 3 times and punt, and you're not using up much of the clock. And so it really made a difference late in the game, where they could have possibly made it closer and given themselves a chance, but we were able to finish it by running the ball. And that was really nice to see. So hopefully we can keep that
So-
up for sure.
Not to interrupt Matt again, but
anyway.
I want to say this right here towards the end of the episode. Anyway, there. Have you seen any of the Untold episodes on Netflix? I've watched the
Untold
Mantateo talking about the catfishing girlfriend. Watched one last week. Was the week before? I watched the. I went blank. Sorry, it was the ref in the NBA that was betting on games. The flagrant foul.
Scott something.
That's what they called it. I thought it was Tim. It's a very generic name.
Yeah.
Tim Druffel or
Smith.
something like that. Yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But anyway, and then they hit it. They did another episode called it's the And One, the rise and fall of And One. Very interesting, but the one that I enjoyed the most so far was the referee that was betting on games. Definitely check that out. That's a really interesting. And Jared is an NBA fan. I figured you'd like that.
Mm-hmm. That sounds interesting.
Well, the reason I say that
Cool.
is because the And One, or not the And One, but the flagrant fouls. There are things that the NBA tells refs to call. They're like, we don't want to cut this out. And the one that he talked about the most is when he first got into the NBA, he would call. They had a spinning move that the NBA wanted to cut out, and Michael Jordan did it, and he called it on him. And Phil Jackson comes out, and he's like, "Whoa!" And Jordan's kind of like, "What? You can't call that." And Phil Jackson's like, "You don't call that on him." And he's like, "They're telling us to call this, man. I'm going to call it." And even the head ref was like, he's like, "Did he do it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, you don't call that on him." It was like, and it just goes to show that star athletes can get away with more than, like, well, we'll say blue collar NBA players.
It's like LeBron James just walking all over the place. And
Yeah, he can take like 20 steps, and normally that's a walk. Yeah, but he'll take like 15 steps towards the basket without a dribble, and it's just there's no call. But and it's like, after I saw that, I was like, that makes sense. I completely understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely check out that. Matt, I'm glad you made it for the last few minutes of the podcast here. For those of you who are going to join our Patreon, we appreciate your support. You will be getting the episode here momentarily. This is Wednesday, so you'll get it tonight as soon as I get it uploaded. For those of you on YouTube, if you want to join our Patreon, you can. If you do not, that's okay. Just like, share, and subscribe the episode, because that helps us out too. Help spread the Red Out Nation podcast thing. Didn't really think that through. Whatever. Definitely.
Well, that was inspiring.
Definitely support us on that. It really appreciate the support.
Subscription off of that, Dev.
Hey, you could get your insurance company on our Patreon, Matt, and then I'll have to talk about it. We could do it that way. But anyway, definitely check that out. Follow the Towel Rack. They've got episodes or articles coming up all the time. We will be back next week to talk about Indiana and our chances there. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think our chances are, Matt?
Not just that we have a chance. I mean, thumbs up. I mean,
you think we're going to win?
Well, I don't know what you're asking. What are the chances?
Are we going to win? Are we going to lose?
Yes.
One of those. Yeah. No.
Thumb sideways. That's where I'm at.
I haven't had a chance to really study it yet. But
Okay.
I'm gonna say we probably lose.
Oh,
I know, right? And then a kick in the gut. But yeah,
I thought
I
it'd
think,
be a lot more positive. What the heck?
well, I without looking at it. But I'll say this: I do like the matchup better than
Okay.
last year.
Okay.
Because the defense can actually stop somebody. They still can't score.
Yeah.
And their defense is good like it was last year. But I think I just like the matchup a little better because we can run the ball. We're forcing some turnovers. So I do like the matchup better, but I still think we might struggle, especially on the road. And they might be a little bit better this year too. But
You know they're giving us
I definitely
3
think we
points.
can win, man.
They're giving us 3.
Really? So we're -3 right now is what the line
We're
opening line is going to be?
-3 at this point, yes.
Interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. We definitely can win. Like I said, I like the matchup better. I just don't know. Will we actually get over the hump and do it? Will we screw up a few things? I don't know. So,
Well, we will have Big Ten refs, so I think that'll be a thing too.
yeah.
We never get home cooking even at home, so
True.
but definitely we'll talk more Indiana next week. Hopefully Matt will be able to join us on time. We'll also do
Yeah, man, I didn't even get a sale either, man. It was just hanging out for nothing. I'm just kidding.
No, you're
Sure.
good. We will be back next week. Like I said, your support helps the podcast, so definitely do that if you can. If you can't, just share it around. We'll appreciate it. And we will holler at you all next week. So, as always, guys, go Tops.
Go Tops.
Go Tops.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, see ya.
Yeah, man. Love ya.
Love you too, man.
Okay, bye.
I am not ashamed to admit in the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need someone, and it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this episode's sponsor, BetterHelp, you do. You can filter out who you would like to talk to, age, gender, religion, and more to pair you with the person who works best for you. And if the person isn't exactly who you were wanting, you're not stuck. You can switch counselors. BetterHelp strives to offer affordable, professional, and accessible online therapy. So go to betterhelp.com/readout today to save 10%. By doing this, you not only support us, you can work toward a brighter, healthier you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode.